Okay, so we are back for the last part of lesson 3.2, part 2. So I have put up the chart for number 3 here. And this part is the same, right? We're talking about the same trip. So basically she's saying, okay, if I were traveling 386 miles and gas were $5, how much would it cost my rental car? That's what we just did. How much would it cost my own car? So she's finding the cost and the cost per mile for each of these trips in each situation with her car and with a rental car. Okay, so I put these two in because we did these again. This was from part 1 of the lesson, and this is from the first page of this lesson. We took the 8210, divided it by 386. We found that it was 21 cents per mile. All right, so let's think about now how we figured out that cost. And if you remember, the cost for her car had a couple of different parts to it. It was the gas price plus maintenance plus tires plus repairs. And in this case of her car, all of these were affected by mileage because the more miles you drive, the closer you are to needing new tires, the closer you are to needing an oil change, etc. So these are all going to change with every time there's a mileage change. Okay, so let's just let's rewrite our expressions for each of these though. So again, for gas, for the first row, we said the gas was $3.50 per gallon times 1 gallon. Now remember, her car only gets 22 miles for every gallon. I wrote that up there to remind us. And then she is going 386 miles. Okay, and that's how we figured out the gas price for that original situation that we did in the first part of lesson 3.2, sorry. Okay, how did we figure out the maintenance? Well, we said the maintenance was $40 for every 3,000 miles. And she was going 386 miles. Okay, so again, the miles would cancel out, just gave us an amount of money. Tires and repairs were very similar, if you remember. If you're a little confused about this, make sure you go back and look at what we had from the first part of this lesson. So tires, we said, were $920 every 50,000 miles. And she's going 386 miles. And finally, the repairs were $328 every 15,000 miles. And she was going 386 miles. Okay, so this is how we figured out everything that went into that first cost. We had a gas price, a maintenance price, tires, and repairs. So when you look at this and when you look at our chart, you can see the things that are going to be changing based on that specific situation. So for example, here's something that's going to change, right? $3.50 for gas is something that changes in that chart. 386 miles, that's something that changes in that chart. Down here, the maintenance, tire, and repair costs don't change, but the mileage does. So these things I circled are the things that we may need to move in and out and change from one row to another. So if I look at the second row, I still have the same trip length, 386 miles. So those are all the same. What changed in the second row is the gas price. So these, once I figured those out, I'll put up the amounts from last time. Those are all going to be the same. In this case, just the gas price is different. So if I look back at part 1 of this lesson, when we figured this out, the maintenance cost let's see here. For the 386 mile trip, the maintenance cost was $5.15. The tires were $7.10. The repairs were $8.44. So at the time, I added these up and I added them to the gas, and that's how I got the $82.10. Okay, now this time when I go to the second row, these are all going to be the same because I'm still driving 386 miles. My tires don't care what gas costs, right? So that's not affected by that. The only thing that's going to be affected here is this gas price. So now my gas price is going to be $5 a gallon. So pause the video for a minute, figure out your new gas price, add this up to get your total, and then figure out cost per mile. Okay, so you're going to use this new $5 to figure out your gas price. You're going to add all these other costs up to get your total. Okay, so hopefully you actually stopped the video and did this. This is going to be $87.73 rounded to the nearest penny with the $5 in there. I then add maintenance, tires, repair. I'm going to get $108.42. Okay, then when I find cost per mile, right, remember again, cost per mile, I'm going to divide them in that order. So my cost is 108.42. My number of miles is 386. I get that it's 28 cents per mile. Okay, it costs more per mile because my gas price went up. Makes sense. Okay, now I want to go to the third row. And we're going to talk about the third and the fourth, and then you are going to pause the video and do them on your own. Okay? So, the third row, we're back to a gas price of $3.50. Think about where that's going to go. Now, our trip length also changed. So I'm going to erase these because these are not going to be your numbers anymore. Okay? So now you need to figure out the trip length, where the trip length goes. I made it easy, right? I circled things that are going to need to change. But you want $3.50 for the gas price, $7.72 for the trip length. Then you need $5 back in for the gas price, but with $7.72 for the trip length. For each of those, figure out the total, figure out your cost per mile. Okay, I'm going to stop this video. So you stop the video, go ahead and do that. The next video will have the answers in there and we'll talk about them. But please take time to do it on your own first.